What is going on, YouTube, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you about how to hybrid and why you should hybrid. All right, so first things first, what exactly is a hybrid athlete? A hybrid athlete is someone who combines two styles of trainings into one program. Hybrid athlete is something that has really grown over the past year, and a lot more people are doing it, and I think there's a couple reasons why. So there's a lot of different things that people will train for when they're trying to get in shape. It could be a bodybuilding contest, it could be a powerlifting contest, it could be an endurance race, and that could be biking, a triathlon, running, or anything like that, swimming also. And then you have like a physique competitor, and then you also have a CrossFitter. So those are the different, pretty much the main styles of training that most people do. Now when you're a hybrid athlete, you take some of those or you take two of those and you combine both of those style trainings into one. Now personally, I think a lot of people are switching over to this, and this is speaking from my personal experience, because if you're training for only one type of training style, it becomes very boring and it becomes very repetitive over time. For a long time, I was always doing bodybuilding style training, so I was doing hypertrophy every day, walking at an incline, and it gets boring, okay? It gets boring after a while. There was also a lot of thought that if you couldn't gain muscle and run, but over the past year, there's been a lot of different videos and research that have come out that basically debunked that and said that is not true. You can gain muscle while also increasing your endurance. And that's the main reason why I did it, because I was doing hypertrophy training style for so long, so I maybe looked a certain way, but if it came to running a mile, I was winded after a mile, if I could even run a mile. And I didn't like that. I didn't feel like an athlete. So first thing you got to do, if you decide, hey, I want to switch over to the hybrid style training, you got to decide which two areas you want to work on. Do you want to do powerlifting and endurance? Do you want to do bodybuilding and endurance? Are you going to go after physique? Are you going to go after performance? Are you going to go after strength? That's kind of how I broke it down. I decided, hey, I'm not the strongest guy. I'm never going to be the strongest guy. I do want to improve my physique, and I do want to improve my endurance. So I'm going to go train as if I was a physique athlete while also training for endurance, meaning running, HIIT style workouts, metcons, even kind of a mix of, I guess you could say, CrossFit. So first thing you got to do when you decide, hey, I want to switch, you got to choose which ones you want to do. And then once you decide which two you want to do, I would recommend you sign up for some type of event. Now there's a lot of great events out there. That could be a bodybuilding show, a powerlifting meet, CrossFit competition, Ironman race, a marathon race. These are all different events that I would encourage you to sign up for. Now once you sign up for one of these, you could either sign up for one that encompasses what you're trying to achieve. So I am trying to achieve endurance and meanwhile have a certain physique. I think the Spartan races, the DECA events, the DECA fits, all of those kind of fall under that category. However, if you wanted to sign up for a powerlifting meet, you could if you incorporate endurance training in there, whether it's running every single day or running 5 times a week, whatever it is, you would technically be a hybrid. You could do a powerlifting meet, you can do a bodybuilding show while you also train for a marathon. You basically just choose two that kind of go hand in hand. Now again, my goal was to basically build endurance, meanwhile physique. So when I think of the 4 categories of when you're training for something, I think of performance, endurance, strength, and physique. Now the 2 that I'm going to be focusing on for my Spartan races along with my DECA events and DECA fits, I'm not really focusing on my performance and I'm not focusing on my strength. I would more care about my endurance and my physique. So that's what I'm working towards right now. So once you pick your event, the next thing you got to do is obviously you got to choose a date. I would highly recommend choosing something that is going to be at least 12 weeks out. I think 12 weeks, 3 months is a very good starting point for anybody out there. So once you have the date, make sure it's at least 12 weeks out. If you want to give yourself more cushion, you could do 6 months. Right now, my event that I'm training for, I'm going to try and do the Spartan trifecta in one weekend. I've done the Spartan trifecta, but I never done it in an actual weekend where I complete the half marathon, 30 obstacles, the 10K, 25 obstacles, and then the 5K, 20 obstacles. So my goal is to do all that in one weekend. Now I'm giving myself about 6 months. However, I'm gonna actually break it up into 2 12-week blocks. I'll explain that in another video. So once you sign up for your event, the next thing you gotta do is you gotta set goals. So my current goals, again, first goal is to sign up for an event. So I hit that goal. The next one is to show up to an event. I don't know how many people I have told about Spartan races. They hear them, they get excited, they say they're gonna do them. They sign up for them, they pay for them, but then when it comes to actually showing up to the event, they don't show up, whether they have an excuse, and it might be an actual legit excuse or a legit reason. However, they don't show up to the event. So that's my first 2 goals. My third goal is going to be complete all my workouts. So these are all basically process focused goals. I'm not just focusing on the result of that one day. If I focus on the results of that one day, that means that 12 weeks of training is absolutely going to suck because all I'm focusing on is that one day. So I have progress goals throughout the training. That way I'm actually excited to do the training. Fourth goal is stick to my meal plan, and then my 5th and final goal is to meet my actual goal weight. So I know that I feel I look my best when I'm at 190 pounds. So every time I have a race, my goal is to get down to that 190 pounds. And again, this lines up with my endurance and my physique goal. I am going after a certain physique when it comes to these races and events. So now that you're signed up for the event, you got to create a training program. Now your training program is going to be based off of obviously your goals. Now when it comes to your training program, the first thing there's 2 questions you got to constantly ask yourself. 1, what am I able to do? Meaning, what does your schedule allow you to do? What are you able to actually do? Like right now, I am not able to work out 5 hours a day because I work, and then I have obviously my family and a normal life. So I'm not able to do that. The second question you need to ask is, what am I willing to do? Okay, so now, am I able to work out twice a day? Yes. Am I willing to? Maybe not. If it interferes with my time that I could be with my daughter or my wife, I'm not willing to do that. So you got to constantly ask yourself those questions as you're creating your training program. So the next thing when it comes to actually becoming a hybrid athlete is you got to create a training program. Now training programs look a lot different. If I'm training for a powerlifting competition, it's going to look a lot different than if I'm training for an endurance race, a marathon, an Ironman, or anything like that. So when it comes to training program, I'm hoping that I could actually allow you guys to create your own training program that you could actually figure out and create the best training program for your current goal. So again, my goal is I'm training to complete the trifecta in January 27th of 2024. So I'm like 6 months out. So as I'm creating my training program, I'm constantly asking myself 2 questions. 1, what am I able to do? 2, what am I willing to do? Now those are 2 very important questions, and the reason why is because if you need to work out 7 days a week, 3 times a day, are you able to do that? Chances are you probably are. Like for my lifestyle, I work 5 days a week. I got a daughter, a wife. I like to spend time with them. I like to obviously train for this, and I obviously got to do stuff for that's related to my job. So am I able to? Probably. If I wanted to, I could actually make it so that I could train 3 times a day. I could work out before work, I could work out after work, I could probably work out on my lunch or before I go to bed, whatever it may be. I could probably train 3 days a week. The second question you got to ask yourself is, what am I willing to do? Now, am I willing to put all that time in training or all that time into my training program and sacrifice time with my wife and daughter? Absolutely not. I'm not willing to do that. So you got to first come to terms with that. What are you willing to do? What are you able to do? Now, once you establish that, like I said, if I'm looking at my current training program, I'm going to work out 7 days a week, and some of them are going to be 2 days. So for instance, Monday, this is just a breakdown of what my current is going to look like. Monday, I got a morning session where I'm going to do a pole focus workout and core. No afternoon session. The reason I don't have an afternoon session is because Cassie works that day, my wife, and she won't be home until 4:30. So when she gets home, I don't want to have to, okay, I'm going out in the garage and I'm going to do a second session. So I don't want to, again, I'm not willing to do it on Monday. Am I able to? Yeah, but I'm going to have to make a sacrifice that I'm not willing to do. Tuesday, so Cassie does not work Tuesday. So morning session, I'm going to do some cardio, some speed work, and then my afternoon session, immediately when I come home from work, I'm going to do my legs. Wednesday, I got a morning session of easy run, core, and then my afternoon session, I got a push day. My Thursday, now Thursday I only do one a day, and if you're wondering why, it's because Cassie works on Thursdays, so I don't want to have to do, I'm not willing to do an afternoon session. So I only do a morning session, and that's gonna be a pulse focused workout. Friday, Cassie is off, so I do an easy run and core in the morning, and then I do arms in the afternoon, right as soon as I get home from work. Now I used to not work out when I got home from work, and the reason why is because I'd wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning and do it all before I went to work. That way when I came home from work, I could spend all my time with my daughter and my wife. However, things changed over summer. My little girl started taking naps in the afternoon, so all last week I would come home from work and Cassie and Adeline would be taking a nap and I'd be sitting around for about an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, and I started realizing they're gonna wake up and I'm gonna go to bed at 8:30. So I'm losing an hour and a half with them because I need to get to bed early so I can wake up and do my hour workout in the morning. So instead of doing that, I decided, okay, if you're gonna be taking naps as soon as I get home from work, what I'm gonna do is as soon as I get home from work, I'll do my strength session, which is about an hour, and then I'll stay up an hour later with you guys. So I'm not sacrificing any time with them by working out twice a day anymore. And I was very excited about that because I realized my workouts in the afternoon are a lot better than trying to do like a 3 to 4 hour workout in the morning, fasted before I went to work. And that's another thing. You may have this perfect idea of, oh, I want to do my cardio in the morning and lift in the afternoon. But you got to ask yourself, are you willing to do that if you're going to have to sacrifice time with in other areas of your life? At that point, I wasn't willing to. Now I am willing to because it's not interfering with my wife and daughter. Saturday mornings, I wake up, I got a long run, and then I'll eat one meal, sometimes two, and then I go and I do another workout. And my Saturdays are always going to be geared towards whatever event I'm training for. So most of my races fall on a Saturday. Therefore, my afternoon or my second session is going to be usually at the time that my event will be. So if I sign up for a DECA Fit and it starts at 11:30, I'm going to just basically simulate that style workout that Saturday for 12 weeks. So every Saturday I'll wake up, I'll be able to figure out what I need to eat, hydrate, all that stuff prior to the actual event. So then come event day or race day, whatever it is, I'm not like, okay, what do I eat, all that stuff. I've already done it for 12 weeks, so I'm good. And then Sunday I wake up, I got an easy run, and then my afternoon session is going to be a push style workout. So that's my training program. But when it comes to yours, you're going to have to break it up by incorporating some type of endurance training and some type of lifting. Now, if your goal is to be strong, then your workouts are going to look different than this. If your goal is to do a powerlifting contest or a bodybuilding contest, it might look different than this. So once you actually set up your training program, now comes the hard part. You got to create your own workouts. I am a huge believer of tracking everything. I have spreadsheets on spreadsheets on spreadsheets. I track my calories burnt, my steps, my weight. I track my high carb days, my low carb days, all that stuff. And the reason why I do that is because I take averages. I am a huge believer of averages, like averages of your weight for the week, averages of your calories for the week, averages of your protein for the week, even your steps for the week. I'm trying to get 20,000 steps a day. If I have one day that I'm having 15, I'm not going to freak out because my average has to be, or my total for the week has to be about 140,000 steps. So as long as my average per day was 20,000, I'm good. And that goes for your weight too. If you have a bad day, it's not a big deal as long as you're at the end of the week, you can look back and see your average, and did your average drop from the previous week, then you're solid. So I'm always keeping track of everything, and then I'll make adjustments as needed. Once you have your actual workout, so you're gonna have to decide if you want to do like 5 sets of 15 on stuff. I usually, just to keep it simple, I'll try to do 5 to 6 exercises every single day, and then I'll try to do about 20 sets each day. That's my rhyme or reason. You just got to figure out your own. When it comes to nutrition, you got to keep your goals in mind. Again, if you're going for performance, you're probably going to be taking in more calories. If you're going for strength, you're probably going to be taking in more calories. If you're going for physique, like looking a certain way, then obviously you're going to be in a calorie deficit, so you could lose some fat. That's what I'm doing. And since I'm in a calorie deficit, it's going to be kind of hard to obviously also try to hit performance because I'm not going to have the fuel to get me through. But one thing about nutrition is that's why I say you got to track it, because every single week you're probably going to have to make adjustments. I think I figure out the perfect nutrition plan, and then the next week I'm like, okay, I'm going to do 4 high carb days, 5 high carb days, 2, whatever it may be, and I'm always switching it up. You got to also find something that you're willing to stick to. If your goal is to get super shredded and be in like a 700 calorie deficit, but then you're also supposed to run like a half marathon that day, probably not the best idea. In order to find your nutrition, though, the first thing you got to do is you got to figure out your maintenance calories. So there's a lot of cool websites out there. Basically, you just type in like macro calculator, all that stuff. You plug in some information, your height, weight, sex, if you're trying to lose weight, maintain, all that stuff, and it will give you a number of what your maintenance calories is. I use the first Phorm app because it tracks everything, it makes it very simple. Right now my maintenance calories are about 2,800, I believe it says, with my amount of activity and then all my information. I'm taking in about 2,100 to 2,300, but this whole next week I'm actually going to take into 2,500 just to kind of see how I look, how I feel, and then make adjustments based off of that. So another major part that I feel like not enough people talk about is your recovery. And when it comes to recovery, there's a couple different parts. There's obviously rest, meaning are you getting enough sleep? I ended up in the hospital, I want to say 2 years ago, because I got pneumonia because I did not give my body enough time to rest, sleep, all that stuff. And in order to do that, you got to figure out where you perform the best at. Are you a 8 hours a day or 8 hours a night kind of person where you feel really good after 8 hours? Me, if I get 8 hours, I actually feel more tired. If I get 7 hours, 6.5 to 7, that's like my happy medium. Anytime I get to like 5.5 to 6, that's when I'm pushing it, and that's probably not the best type of rest for me. You also just, at the end of the day, got to listen to your body. If you are super sore and feel fatigued and just do not feel right, which you'll know your body the more you do this, you'll know when you're not feeling 100%. If you don't feel 100%, then you might just have to take a day off, rest, recover, and then hit it hard the next day. Different strategies I do for actually recovering is I stretch at the end of each workout. I'll sometimes stretch throughout the day. If I'm like reading, I'll sit on the ground and read for like 20 minutes and just get some basically static hold stretching in. And then also, are you foam rolling? Are you using one of those massage guns? That's a great. And then I actually recently started doing ice baths. I love the way those make me feel. You could do ice, you could do heat, whatever it may be, but you gotta make sure you take care of your body, because if you don't, you ain't even gonna show up to the actual event because you'll be injured. And the last component about that is obviously fuel, which is nutrition, what I talked about, but that's also hydrating yourself, drinking enough fluids, getting enough electrolytes, and then supplements. At the end of the day, supplements do kind of bridge the gap and give you that next level. However, if you're not fueling right and not eating enough nutrition, supplements aren't gonna make a difference. The only supplements I currently take is I take creatine, I take protein, and then I take a pre-workout, and then a multivitamin, and that's pretty much it. And again, if you guys are interested in those, the links for those will be in the description. All right, so now that we covered what a hybrid is and how to hybrid, let's talk about why you should hybrid. I am a firm believer of balance, and I've always been about balance. And if you follow my channel, then you know that I'm always talking about balance. And I think hybrid, when you become a hybrid athlete, which I act like I'm a hybrid athlete. I don't even know what dictates a hybrid athlete, but I'm going to say I'm a hybrid athlete. When you become a hybrid athlete, you are all about balance, and that's what I love. Like for instance, my first Spartan race, and even the Spartan races I do, when I go in, I don't really have in the back of my mind that I'm going to podium. I've never podiumed. I've never been the top or anything like that. Even when it comes to my first DECA event I didn't podium, I didn't get first or anything like that. But what I love about these is these races and stuff, like they're geared towards endurance racers. Like if you look at the top Ironman triathletes, they train endurance. Sometimes they don't have the best physique, they don't have the strength, they don't look a certain way. Again, they're checking endurance. Their main thing is endurance. That's all they want to do is endurance. And you look at bodybuilders, like bodybuilders have amazing physiques, they're super jacked, yet they can't run a mile. Those are the extremes, and that's what I like about hybrid is it's like you can have a good physique, you can be pretty good at endurance, you could have some strength, and you could have some performance, and you could kind of check all the boxes. But it doesn't mean you have to be excellent at it. So if you're not super strong, a hybrid athlete might be for you. If you're not crazy good at endurance, a hybrid athlete might be for you, because you could kind of balance both of them. I've never been super strong. I've never had crazy endurance. Like I've never done cross country. I used to hate running, but once I started incorporating running into my lifting, it also just keeps your endorphins like going. It keeps your dopamine high, because you're not going into the gym doing the same 10 sets, the same reps, the same steady state cardio, or you're not doing bike for 3 hours. Like you have excitement, you have new things every single day. And I think that's why I'm able to work out 7 days a week and not get bored, because my morning routines look a lot different than my afternoon routines, and then every like 3 weeks they're changing because I'm trying to incorporate something else. And that's what I've heard about CrossFit. CrossFit apparently is very exciting because it's never the exact same thing. Everything's constantly changing. And I think that's why more people are switching over to the hybrid, just because fitness is something you're going to do for a very long time. But if you get bored of it and you've been doing it for such a long time of the exact same thing, chances are, 1, you'll get burnt out, and 2, you might just stop
altogether. And then it's like, what was the point of all that? So at the end of the day, I think everybody should look into becoming a hybrid athlete just because of all the options that it allows you and the versatility that it allows you. And at the end of the day, you can call yourself a hybrid athlete. So that's not a bad thing. So anyways, guys, this video was a little bit different, but I've seen a lot of people doing this video on YouTube just because hybrid athlete, like I said, is becoming a lot more popular. So my goal with this video is basically explain to you what a hybrid athlete was, if in case you've never known about it. And then also to explain to you how I go about creating a training program that I think makes me fall into the hybrid athlete category. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys subscribe, make sure you guys like, comment below if you guys have any questions, comment below if you guys have signed up for any certain events that you are looking to do. And you guys already know the motto: stay happy, stay healthy, and above all, don't be average. I'll catch you guys in the next one.